Chemotherapy. Chemo was like one big, massive, long haze of hallucination. I felt as if I was in a free fall, descending deeper and deeper into an abyss of fear and anxiety, and even depression. Chemo itself was like being in a prison where you had literally no control over your circumstances, your surroundings. I knew it was supposed to be doing something good for me, but I was just powerless and helpless, and I didn't really know what to do. Way before chemo started, I had a series of tests, and I suppose they wanted to be absolutely sure that the diagnosis was correct. And I had the full run of CT scans, blood tests and everything else. I must say, the staff and the NHS were absolutely fabulous. These guys really went out of their way to look after me and reassure me. But I was still anxious, knowing that very soon the procedure would start and there really was no turning back. Just before the treatment was supposed to start, I received some wonderful news, which meant I had to delay and leave the country and take part in what was a really joyous and fabulous occasion that I couldn't miss up. I didn't know if I was going to be ill for a long time or even if I was going to die. So this is something that I didn't want to miss, and I was so glad I was able to take part in that family celebration. All the while I was there, I knew that this thing was growing inside of me and festering beyond what I wanted it to be. I knew I couldn't walk away from it. And even though the doctors had explained the difference between good cells, bad cells, and how cancer was being formed within my body, it all just went over my head. I was in a haze of disbelief. Anyway, coming back to the UK and settling back into London, I then got the phone call. They wanted me to come in on a particular day. It was then my friends kicked in with the text and the messages and the phone calls and the scriptures and the spiritual affirmations. And my family even organised a family Zoom prayer meeting for me, where I had friends and family and business partners and colleagues from all over the world praying for me on a continual daily basis. It was so heartwarming, and even though time was ticking on, I really took a lot from that time of prayer and support from those who were closely beside me, including my church family. It was then that the pieces of the spiritual puzzle began to fit into place, and I realized that it may not necessarily mean that the cancer would leave my body miraculously, but God was actually building me up and giving me the strength and the courage and the determination to climb the mountain and eventually walk into the light of God's truth and His word. There were times I couldn't even pray for myself, and that's when others stood in the gap and held my hand. And my friends were like special forces. They came in there, they prayed me up, and they rescued me from a very, very sad place. Anyway, the day of the initial procedure had finally arrived, and I didn't feel downhearted, I didn't feel sad, I didn't feel as lost as I thought I would be. And A supernatural spirit of peace and tranquility came over me as I finally resolved to let God take me through this situation. And I put my hope and a whole trust in Him. But unbeknown to me, the worst was yet to come.